Have you ever thought that there are places in the world where the air is so heavy that, instead of just clearing your throat, it feels like you're mining rocks? That's right. There are countries where the pollution is so intense that taking a deep breath is almost like getting on the Paris subway at rush hour, with that signature sweaty armpit scent in the air. And look, before you bet all your chips on India as the champion of this ranking, hold on, because the list might surprise you. Let's take a tour through the 10 countries where the air is more polluted than the gray sky of Sao Paulo. Number 10, Iraq. 39.60 micrograms per cubic meter. In Iraq, air pollution is heavily affected by the unstable political and economic situation the country has faced for many years. During conflicts and military operations, burning oil wells became a common practice, releasing large amounts of sulfur dioxide and other toxic pollutants into the atmosphere. In addition, poor energy infrastructure forces many people to use diesel generators, which emit fine particles and significantly contribute to poor air quality. Another serious problem is the lack of an efficient waste management system, which leads to the indiscriminate burning of garbage, releasing harmful compounds into the air. In large cities like Baghdad, the situation is even worse due to heavy traffic, with old and poorly maintained vehicles that release more pollution into the air, making air quality a serious public health issue. 9. Uzbekistan. 41.20 micrograms per cubic meter. Uzbekistan faces a serious environmental challenge, mainly due to its reliance on coal and the exploitation of oil and gas. As a former Soviet republic, the country inherited a heavy industrial infrastructure that, without proper technological upgrades, continues to emit large amounts of pollutants. Furthermore, the Aral Sea catastrophe, which was practically drained for irrigation purposes, left vast areas of exposed soil, generating toxic dust made up of pesticides and salt. This dust, carried by the wind, further deteriorates air quality, especially in rural areas and near industrial zones, severely affecting the health of the local population. 8. Nepal. 44.46 micrograms per cubic meter. Despite its stunning mountains and natural landscapes, Nepal suffers from extremely poor air quality, especially in its capital, Kathmandu. Many families in the country still rely on burning biomass, such as wood, dung, and agricultural waste, to cook and heat their homes, which releases large amounts of pollutants into the air. In addition, uncontrolled urban growth constantly stirs up dust, worsening the pollution. On the streets of Kathmandu, old and poorly regulated vehicles emit large amounts of carbon monoxide and nitrogen dioxide, and the open burning of garbage, common in urban and suburban areas, releases a toxic mix of pollutants, making the air even more harmful to health. 7. Bahrain. 46.80 micrograms per cubic meter. In Bahrain, air pollution is a direct consequence of rapid industrialization centered on oil and gas exploitation. The country's refineries, which are fundamental to its economy, emit large volumes of sulfur dioxide and fine particles. In addition, Bahrain's desert location contributes to the problem, as frequent sandstorms bring even more fine particles into the air, which mix with industrial pollutants. In urban areas, such as the capital Manama, heavy vehicle traffic further aggravates the situation, making air quality a serious public health problem. 6. Indonesia. 51.71 micrograms per cubic meter. Indonesia faces one of the worst air pollution crises in the world, mainly due to the forest fires that occur annually during the dry season. These fires, often set to clear land for palm plantations and other crops, release enormous amounts of fine particles and greenhouse gases. Indonesia's tropical forests, especially the peat-rich areas, produce a dense and persistent smoke when burned, which spreads over vast areas, affecting air quality not only in Indonesia but also in neighboring countries. Rapid urbanization and the increase in vehicle use without proper emission controls also worsen the situation, especially in major urban centers like Jakarta. In addition, industries located in these areas contribute to the high concentration of pollutants in the air, making the urban environment increasingly toxic and harmful to health. You're enjoying the video, aren't you? That's great. Now, let me give you a smart tip. If you also want your friends to breathe in content as good as fresh air, do this. Share this video right now with that friend of yours who loves Sao Paulo and is already more than used to breathing the city's pure air. Who knows, maybe they'll enjoy a different kind of breath too, right? 5. Afghanistan. 58.80 micrograms per cubic meter. In Afghanistan, a country marked by decades of conflict, air pollution is a problem that reflects devastation on multiple fronts. The ongoing wars have not only destroyed infrastructure, but have also left behind a legacy of pollution. The burning of fossil fuels, mainly to heat homes during harsh winters, is one of the main sources of pollution. The use of coal, firewood, and even garbage to generate heat in urban areas releases large amounts of fine particles and toxic substances into the air. In Kabul, the capital where air pollution reaches alarming levels, this mix of pollutants combines with desert dust, forming a thick cloud that hangs over the city. The lack of environmental regulation and the absence of clean energy alternatives make the situation even worse, turning Afghanistan's air into a real battlefield for the lungs of its inhabitants. 4. India. 58.8 micrograms per cubic meter. India, with its vastness and diversity, faces a cruel paradox. While its economic growth advances, its air becomes increasingly unbreathable. Air pollution in the country is among the worst in the world, with New Delhi often ranking as the most polluted city on the planet. This happens due to a lethal combination of factors: large-scale coal burning for power generation, intensive use of old and poorly regulated vehicles, and the burning of agricultural waste, especially during the winter. During this season, a dense layer of smog, a result of the combination of fog and pollution, settles over the cities, blocking out the sun and turning the sky into an eternal twilight. Furthermore, growing urbanization and industrialization, without proper environmental controls, further worsen the situation, making the air in major cities a toxic mix that threatens the health of millions of people every day. Every breath becomes a fight against an air that should be a source of life, but which, in India, has become an invisible enemy. 3. Mongolia. 62 micrograms per cubic meter. In vast, cold Mongolia, where the steppes seem to stretch on forever, air pollution is an unexpected enemy. Ulaanbaatar, the capital, is one of the most polluted cities in the world, especially during winter. The main cause? Burning coal for heating. In a land where temperatures can drop drastically, families turn to coal to heat their traditional tents, known as jairs. This massive use of coal in urban areas creates a dense layer of pollution that envelopes the city, turning the air into a gray shroud. In addition, rapid urbanization and the lack of adequate infrastructure for clean energy contribute to the persistently poor air quality. Pollution in Mongolia is a cruel irony. In a country known for its vast open landscapes, the air people breathe in the cities is oppressive and suffocating. 2. Pakistan. 65.81 micrograms per cubic meter. Pakistan, a country of contrasts and natural beauty, faces a silent crisis that hides in the haze of its major cities. Lahore and Karachi are two examples of how air pollution has turned these vibrant metropolises into toxic environments. The burning of fossil fuels for energy generation, especially coal, is one of the biggest culprits. But it doesn't stop there. The burning of agricultural waste, mainly in Punjab, adds a heavy load of pollutants to the air, especially during winter, when a layer of smog covers the cities. Industry, which often operates without proper environmental regulation, contributes even more to the degradation of air quality. Chaotic traffic, with old and poorly regulated vehicles, completes the picture, turning the air into a dense mix of pollutants. In Pakistan, the blue sky is often replaced by an oppressive gray, and breathing becomes a daily challenge for millions of people. 1. Bangladesh. 83.30 micrograms per cubic meter. And finally, in first place, Bangladesh, a vibrant and resilient nation, faces a monumental challenge when it comes to air pollution. Dhaka, the capital, is the epicenter of this crisis. The city, densely populated, is shrouded in a constant haze of pollution caused by various sources. The textile industry, which is the backbone of the country's economy, contributes significantly to the pollution, releasing large amounts of fine particles and toxic gases into the air. The burning of bricks in outdated kilns, a method still widely used in construction, is another major source of pollution. During the winter months, when atmospheric conditions trap pollutants close to the ground, the situation becomes even worse, creating a suffocating blanket that envelopes the city. In addition, the chaotic traffic, with a fleet of poorly regulated vehicles running on low-quality fuels, adds an extra layer of pollution. In Bangladesh, the air seems to carry the weight of its population's daily struggles, where every breath is a reminder of the fight for a cleaner and healthier environment. And if you thought India would be at the top of this list, I bet you were surprised, right? But surprise! You're partially right, because New Delhi is considered the most polluted city in the world. But the real leader is Bangladesh, where taking a deep breath is almost like strolling down marginal teeth during rush hour or taking a walk on Avenida Paulista on a day with heavy traffic. Thank you for making it this far, my friends. Thanks, everyone, and see you next time.